and welcome back to Healthaholics, It's for All of Us. My name is Dr. Joe Porreca, and I'll admit it, I'm a healthaholic. What's a healthaholic, you ask? A healthaholic is someone who is constantly striving to learn more about their health and how to optimize one's health. To summarize, there are three easy components we utilize to attain wellness, and these three components are physical, emotional, and chemical. So last episode I talked a little bit about the physical aspect of health. This week I want to introduce you to the emotional aspect of health. When I refer to the emotional aspect of health, what I'm really referring to is reducing the destructive effects of stress on your health. Now, not all stress is destructive or bad. For instance, the stress that we subject our bodies to in weight training and exercise can result in beneficial outcomes, such as an adaptive response that causes our muscles and bones to become stronger. Stress in the short term can also be life-saving. An example of this is in prehistoric times, we may have encountered a saber-toothed tiger. When this happens, our bodies kick into fight or flight mode, which is a stress response. And this stress response causes a release of certain chemicals and hormones in our bodies that divert blood, glucose, and fatty acids to the muscles through our bloodstream. Our muscles then get us ready to either fight or flight. In other words, run away. Once the danger is over and we are safe, the stress response turns off. This is a beneficial and life-saving effect for us. And in the short term, this stress response is not damaging to our health. This type of stress and the stress of exercise, which is normal, healthy stress, as long as you don't overdo it, for instance, by overtraining, is called eustress. So eustress was a term coined by the father of stress medicine, Hans Selye. I highly recommend that you get Hans Selye's book, Stress Without Distress, to learn more about the difference between eustress and damaging stress. So you see, short-term stress is not unhealthy and is built into our physiology as a protective mechanism to save our lives. On the other hand, chronic high or low-grade stress is very damaging to our health. In our modern day lives, we have plenty of causes of chronic low-grade or high-grade stress. What are some of these causes of stress? Well, we stress about our jobs. We stress about when we're driving our cars. We stress about our relationships with family and friends. And yes, the big one, we stress about money. This stress doesn't go away after a short episode. This is stress that hits us every single day, often immediately after awakening. According to a study done by Stanford University, stress is the #1 killer or cause of chronic degenerative diseases in the USA today. Prolonged stress is harmful due to the effect that it has on our stress glands called the adrenal glands. So the adrenal glands produce many hormones that help us handle physical and emotional stress. In situations of chronic stress, these hormones can cause damage and the adrenal glands can become fatigued. This can affect the quantity of hormones that are produced. The adrenal glands produce hormones that influence sleep, digestion, weight gain, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, allergies, immunity, heart function, fatigue, and more. So these glands, you can see, are very important, and these glands can be checked, and if malfunctioning, can be repaired through diet and supplements. Okay, so now I want to show you how the adrenal glands can be evaluated with just a simple blood pressure cuff. Technically, that's called a sphygmomanometer. Say that 3 times fast. But it's a blood pressure cuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the patient's blood pressure seated. Okay, and then immediately upon standing, we're going to take the blood pressure. Okay, thank you, patient. You can sit down. And what should happen there's 2 readings in the blood pressure. There's a systolic, which is the upper number, and a diastolic, which is the lower number. Upon arising, upon standing, the systolic should raise at least 10 millimeters of mercury higher than it was versus seated. If that doesn't occur, then we know the patient is most likely suffering from adrenal fatigue. And of course, there are blood tests that can be done. There's certain labs that you can have a analysis of the saliva, and it will tell you exactly, it will confirm your test that you've done here called the Ragland's test. So that is an easy and simple way to evaluate the adrenal glands. Now, going back to, short-term stress can be healthy, but long-term stress, and that's what we suffer in our modern day lives, is very unhealthy. I'll give you another example. If you are a bus driver and a little child runs out in front of the bus, all of a sudden you go into fight or flight mode where your sympathetic nervous system kicks in and you start to dump a lot of sugar and a lot of fat into your blood to get yourself ready to either fight or flight. But you're not going to do either because you're sitting in a bus, driving a bus. So all those extra fats, those fatty acids, those extra sugars are running around in your bloodstream, and there's nothing to burn it off because you're sitting there. You're not fighting, you're not flighting. This is very damaging to your health. So you see this, even short-term stress in our modern day lives can be unhealthy if you go back to the example I just gave you, because there's no fight or flight there. It's just you're sitting in a car, someone pulls out in front of you, your stress reaction goes off, the fight or flight syndrome, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in, your glucose, your blood sugar goes up, your fatty acids go up to fuel your muscles to get ready to fight something, like I said earlier, the saber-toothed tiger, or run away from it. Well, you're not going to do either in the car because you're just sitting in the car pushing the gas pedal and the brake. So that's an example how short-term stress in our modern day lives can be very damaging. So you see how stress plays a really important role in our modern day lives and how it has a tendency to be more damaging today than it was in the past when the short-term stress was there to help save our lives through the fight or flight response. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, an easy way to evaluate the adrenal glands through Ragland's tests. And of course there are tests that you can do, saliva tests to evaluate the adrenals. And I also want to get across to you that the adrenal glands can be healed, they can be recovered back to normal function just through nutritional means. And in future presentations, future episodes on Healthaholics, It's for All of Us, we're going to talk about how you can heal your adrenal glands just through nutritional means. So that's it for today, folks. Yes, I'll admit it, I'm a healthaholic, and we want to make you a healthaholic too. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.